Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Clark. I am the founder and CEO of Clark College Funding and the author of two books. My first book, College Aid for Middle Class America, and my newest book that I'm very excited about, I co-authored. The name of that is called The College Entrance Game Plan, your comprehensive guide to collecting, organizing, and funding college. Now, every week I get a lot of emails from students and parents all over the United States. And I try to answer a lot of those questions. And recently I've been getting a lot of emails about SAT subject-based tests. So I thought I'd take the opportunity to talk a little bit about the SAT subject-based test and answer some of the questions that I've received over the last few months about the subject-based test. So what is the subject-based test? Well, SAT subject-based tests, they're based upon the curriculum you have in your actual high school classes. It's an opportunity for an individual or student to demonstrate their mastery in that particular subject. So the College Board has an interesting definition that I thought I'd read that describes the subject-based test. And so the definition is, or their description is, the subject-based tests offer you an opportunity to show colleges what you know and what you know you can do. Many colleges use the SAT subject-based test for admission, of course placement, and to advise students about course selection. Some colleges specify the SAT subject-based test that they require for admission or placement. Others offer applicants to choose which test to take. So you need to start making plans to include the subject-based test as part of your college planning process, particularly if your son and daughter are applying to some of the more higher end, if you will, colleges. The more selective colleges do require the subject-based test. So now let's get into answering some of the questions that I've received over the last few months. So question number one, what subject test can I take? Which is a very, very good question. There are only 20 subject-based tests that you can choose from, only 20. The majority of those tests are in foreign languages, surprisingly enough. They also have English as a subject-based test, history, math, some sciences thrown in there too. And I'll try to list the subject-based tests below so you can see a list of all the different 20 subject-based tests, but most of them are in the languages. Question number two, are the subject-based tests the same as AP test? Great question. No, they are not the same. They are somewhat similar, but there are some big differences between the subject-based test and the AP test. The biggest is the number of AP tests that you can take is tremendous. It's huge. There are many more AP tests that you can take than subject-based tests. For example, there are 5 arts AP tests that you can take, and there are 0 subject-based tests on arts. So, hope that answered your question. Second question I received, I thought was a good question as well. What if I prefer taking the ACT subject-based test? Now, I always find this very interesting. Unfortunately, there is no such thing as an AP subject-based test. They don't offer subject-based tests. But I will say there are a few colleges out there that will specify if you submit an ACT test score instead of an SAT test score, you will not have to take an SAT subject-based test. So again, check with the colleges on that to see if that is a requirement or not. So there is no such thing as an ACT subject-based test. Next question, when should I take the subject-based test? Now this is very, very important. Trying to schedule and figure out when to take the subject-based test is one of the most important things you can do as a freshman, sophomore, or junior, or even a senior if you're planning on taking these tests. Why? Because you want to take these tests when you are in the midst or when you finished the class, right? So if you are taking, I don't know, chemistry your junior year in high school, you should take and plan on take the chemistry subject-based test your junior year in high school. Don't wait till your senior year in November of your senior year, because you're probably taking physics now. And all the things you learned in chemistry, you probably don't know as well as you did during your junior year. So if you're taking it during the same time you're taking your AP test, that's a good time to take subject-based tests because you're already studying for the AP test anyway. If you're taking a class your sophomore year, you might want to take a subject-based test your sophomore year as well. So again, you want to pre-plan if you can to take the subject-based test while you're studying for those particular subjects. Okay. Next question, how long is the subject-based test? Great question. Usually they're about an hour long, give or take. Next question, how many subject tests can I take at a time? Another great question. You can take or you can schedule up to 3 at one sitting. So you can take 3 at a time if you want to. I don't know if you really want to do that, but you can if you need to. Some colleges do require you to take and submit 3 subject-based tests, and they will tell you or specify these are the 3 subjects that we want. Other colleges will leave it up to you. They'll say we want 1 math, we want 1 English, we want 1 science, and you can choose. So again, just check with the colleges on that to determine if that's the case. Next question. When are subject-based tests offered? Again, great question, and this kind of goes back to what we were just talking about before about pre-planning on taking these subject-based tests. When are they offered? So you can take these subject-based tests 6 times during the year. They're October you can take it, November, December, January, May, and June. Those are the only times you can take the subject-based test. And remember, the subject-based test you cannot take in March. Only the SAT is given in March, not the subject-based test. Okay. Next question. Again, great question. Are all subject-based tests offered 6 times a year? No, they are not. So we just talked about the different months, but some are offered all 6 times, but others are not. So again, you got to pre-plan for this, right? So there are only a few that you can take every, the 6 times during the year. And others, you kind of have to pre-plan. You have to know when it's given during the year. So if you're taking, I don't know, French, and it's only given in November, well, you want to make sure you know well in advance to prepare for that, so you don't have to take it maybe November of your senior year. You can take it maybe November of your junior year when you're in the midst of studying for a French test, or you're taking your final year of French your junior year. Does that make sense? I hope so. Okay. And I'll try to again list which subject-based tests below this video when they're given, so you can have an idea when those are given. Next question, which tests can I take on any day? So that's kind of the opposite. There are a few tests, subject-based tests, that you can take, those 6 times during the year. And they are, number 1, literature, number 2, biology, number 3, chemistry, number 4, physics, number 5, U.S. history, and then math 1 and 2. So those are the subjects you can take October, November, December, January, May, and June. Okay. Next question, can I see my scores before I send them to a college? Absolutely. You definitely want to check the scores, and you can use the score choice. You know what I mean? If you're taking the math more than once and you scored higher the first time, you probably just want to send the first test if that's your highest score. However, you need to remember to check with each college because their policies could be different. Some colleges might want you to send them all of the scores. So again, just check with the colleges on that. Next question. What is the latest I can take the subject-based test in my senior year? Well, my suggestion, especially if you're applying early action, early decision, you want to have your subject-based test done in October and November. You can't submit it in December if you're doing early action, early decision. If you're not, then I would say December is the last time you can take it during your senior year. Next question, do all colleges require the SAT subject-based test? No, they do not. That's a great thing. Most colleges do not require a subject-based test, but again, you need to check with each individual college to ensure that they do not require it. So again, check with the college's website very carefully on their policy on subject-based test. Next question, do I need to take specific subject-based tests for my major? And this is a great question because not a lot of students know this, especially students in California. I get a lot of questions about this. And the answer is sometimes. Many colleges have specific subject-based tests that you need to take for a major. So engineering is one. Any science, engineering or science or math-based, sometimes colleges will say, yeah, you need to take some subject-based tests that we recommend. This is particularly true for the University of California campuses, the UC campuses, if you will. They're not required, but they are recommended, and they're highly recommended. And so I encourage you to take those subject-based tests because if you take those tests and you do well, you will be much more competitive if you send in those test scores. Next question, final question. How can I prepare to take the SAT subject-based test? And that's a really, really good question. One of the first things I would do is check with the local SAT test preparation place you're taking it. Sometimes they give you options, or they'll have classes there where you can actually go and get some tutoring. Of course, check online. That's always a great source. And you might also considering, if you have a friend who's planning on taking the same subject-based test you are, try having or forming a study group. That works really well, and I found students really like that. So that would be my suggestions for you. So keep the questions coming. I enjoy those questions. Thank you so much for submitting the questions. Feel free to email me if you can. My email address is rclark@clarkcollegefunding.com for any questions that you might have. I look forward to speaking with you, and if you are one of my coaching clients, you will be using in Guided Path, you will be using the testing schedule where we will be putting your SAT dates when you're taking those, your ACT dates, your PSAT dates, your AP testing dates, and your subject-based tests. So we have it in one place, and we will keep organized. So thank you very much, guys. I look forward to speaking with you hopefully next week. And feel free to, if you haven't signed up to receive these emails, feel free to sign up below so you can get these emails in these video chats in the future. Again, thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.